great Darryl Strawberry, joining us in studio. When you look at old video like that, you see that montage of yourself at the height of your powers. What comes to mind?
I have to laugh, because baseball is so much fun. Now I get a chance to revisit that. It's been a long time since I've been able to do that, And to sit here and actually talk about it, I have to laugh about it because, I had so much fun playing, because that's what baseball is really all about. It's a kid's game, and you must keep it that way. I think a lot of times we get to the major leagues and then we want to start trying all these different things. And once I got there and once I got going after my rookie season, after Jim Frey helped me get to the place of understanding what it takes to be here. And
what did he tell you?
How to be a great ball player. Well, I was supposed to be at the ballpark at 1 o'clock. I didn't show up to 3 o'clock. So Jim Frey got in my face. And he says, I'm never going to wait for you again. If you want to be a great player, you'll be at this ballpark early every day. And from that day forward, I was there early every day, and I went on to win Rookie of the Year. And he left the next year and went to the Cubs. But he was the start of what made me understand what type of player I want to be. Yeah. You got to continue to work. It doesn't matter how much talent you have. You got to continue to work at all the little things. And that's what he taught me. He taught me how to get better at the little things and keep going. And that's what kind of pushed me forward in my major league career. And I realized that being at the ballpark early, and even being a veteran player, when I was a veteran player, I was always at the ballpark early because I learned that from him.
All right, we just talked about the draft, and you talked about being it. What the heck were you like in high school?
Well, high school baseball was fun because we had a lot of great players. And Chris Brown was my third baseman. Eric Davis was playing on the other side over at Fremont, and we played summer ball together. So we always all in great competition together. But it was fun.
You knew you were first rounder. You knew you were different, stealing bags, playing D. I mean, all the tools.
Oh, you have all the tools, but you don't know for sure where you're going in that draft. We had 3 first-round picks in that draft that year. I was number 1, Billy Beane was number 2, and John Gibbons was number 3 in that first round. Wow. So there was some pretty good ball players. John Gibbons was a great ball player at his time coming out of high school. Yeah. Beaner was out in San Diego, and he came to the Mets organization. So we all was that first round draft pick, and it was just a matter of developing, going through the minor league system and allowing yourself to develop, and that was the hardest challenge, is being able to transition, because you come from high school with aluminum bats and you can have all this great success in high school. Yeah. Now all of a sudden you go to the minor leagues, now everybody can play. And they play at a higher level. And some guys come out of college, play college baseball, and you're a high school player. So you have to learn how to make adjustments, and you have to be able to be patient with yourself more than anything. And I think a lot of times a lot of guys struggle early, and they get frustrated with themselves. And I struggled, but I didn't get frustrated. Yeah, there were times I wanted to quit during the minor league career, and I started thinking about it
as well.
Yeah, long bus rides, and it's like, man, this really sucks. Playing in Kingsport, Tennessee, and different places like that, in Lynchburg, Virginia, and you think about that, and you say, well, is this really what it's all about to get to the big leagues? But I was able to stick with it and not give up, and press through, and press through some real challenging times in the minor league. And I had one person that really helped me more than any, well, 2. Gene Dusan, who was my coach in A-ball and AA. And then I had Lloyd McClendon, who was my teammate. Really? He was like a big brother to me. Yeah. He was older, and he was like a big brother, and he pushed me and kept encouraging me about working hard and not listening to the noise, and being able to understand what type of ball player that you want to be, not what everybody else wants you to be. So I had that.
That's great.
You have been an inspiration to me. Your life story, Darryl, is really special, and your courage to be able to share it has been really unique too. So, if you could tell your young self now, or a young player looking back at your career, because your faith is very important to you as it is to me, and your ability to communicate that, as I said, has been life-changing. And so, if you could share with us, when this took place, what you've learned, and what you would tell yourself looking back at it now, if you could start your journey all over again. I know that's a hard question, but...
No, it's a good question. And, a lot of times people think it's a hard question. Yeah, it's a very tough question, because when you're young, you believe you can do whatever you want, and nothing's ever going to stop you. And that's not true. And, I was no different than anybody else, believing that I could do whatever I want, playing at the height of my career, having success and having everything, but really not having nothing until later on in life. Then you come to this place where you have these falls in life, then who are you? And that's the question, you know, all of us have to ask ourselves, who are we really? Not what we do, but who are we really? And I always wanted to experience that when I played baseball. I saw it, you know, I saw it well. I saw it in Mookie Wilson and Gary Carter. I saw two guys who was at the height of their career, successful.
But they lived that what you were trying to find.
They lived what everybody's probably trying to find. And they lived it in such a way that it was so attractive and it was so real. And most people persecuted Gary Carter because he smiled and he was happy.
Yeah.
But what we didn't realize about Gary, he was free. You know, and I knew something special was special about him, you know, the way he carried himself, the way he acted towards people when people said things about him. He didn't respond in like such a negative way, a hostile way, and he wanted to fight. If it was me at that time, I was going to fight you.
Yeah.
But it was him, and Gary would smile, and he would keep it moving. And I love that, man. I love that about Gary. I love that about Mookie. I love the fact that these guys were not like the wild boys, like a lot of us on the team. They were drinking milk while everybody else was drinking alcohol. You know, and they were special, and people would tease Gary when we coming back home and saying, Gary, you drinking your milk, you going home to your wife and kids. Man, that's what life was really supposed to be about. You know, and we just didn't understand that.
Yeah, that's great.
You know? And we were living on the other side in the darkness while these guys were living in the light. And they were a great example to what a man looks like, you know, and I knew it was real, and I saw it, and I think that's why I'm sitting here today, and I'm a different person, because I saw these two guys live it, and I saw them live it with the uniform on. And you know how hard that is, you know, having the uniform on and being around that. You know, the chemistry of teams are great and everything, but also at the same time, some guys live a different way, have a different way, walk a different way, talk a different way, but they play a big way just like everybody else.
Well, this coming Saturday, Darryl will have his jersey retired by the New York Mets in April. His former teammate Dwight Gooden had his jersey retired by the club, so definitely should be a jam-packed house.